What is happening, Budget Builders, and welcome back to the channel. Behind me here in bay number 3, we have a 1962 Thunderbird. Oh, there's a dead animal right there. Your discretion is advised. That has been tucked away. It was parked here because of cam issues in 1994. It has a 428 that my dad installed in 1997, 1998, and it has not run since. In today's video, using this stuff here, we're going to attempt to get this thing to run. We're going to try to make it run well. We're going to try to make it drivable, and we're going to attempt to drive it home. Now, something to mention, probably 4 years ago now, they were thinking about getting the car running. My grandfather did check it. This was my uncle's, by the way. You may remember right here was that 62 Starfire that we got fired off. That was my uncle's. Dad and I purchased this one from him a little while back. That motor was frozen then. He soaked it down. I know there's no spark plugs in it. There's a good possibility it is still frozen. So this one might be a little extra interesting, but very pretty original car. Definitely has a couple little rust bubbles here and there, but underneath, I don't want to. It's pretty under there. Pretty interior. Obviously, the door panels are bad on these at the top. Gorgeous. So let's take a look here. Is what was a brand new 428. Check that out. And Dad built it in high school. It sat on the shelf, and when I was little, Sean asked if he could buy it, and Dad sold it to him, and so here it went. He did a very nice job. Now, the biggest thing was he did want it in there, and he wanted to hear it run, so this did pop off, and the problem with that, you're very fresh, bare metal to bare metal. You burn off that initial lube, and then the car's just sat. It was expected to be taken out and run. Life got in the way, and here it's been for all these years. I do want to inspect the cylinders. Let's make sure there's no major rust or anything. I'm thinking maybe it's just very light surface rust, if anything anymore, because my grandfather did. You see the spark plugs. I mean, this thing is barely, you know, it's only run one time. It's a brand new motor, but many years ago. So sitting wide open, we do want to make sure everything looks good, and we're going to attempt to get this thing broken free. If we can get it broken free, I think we can get it to run. We do need to go through the break-in procedure and then a lot of other things, and then try to make this thing drive. But let's get started. Now, I think first thing is first, let's go ahead. I brought our little compressor. Let's try to get some air in these tires. Let's drag all this stuff out over to the side and get it off of the car so we can really see what we're working with here. These were brand new tires. I don't believe they are anymore. Sheesh. Hopefully they'll hold air enough. We did bring a set that we got for this car. These are not the original Kelsey Hayes. These are some Keystone spoked wheels with like hubcaps. Not very good looking wheels. So we got an original. These are actually 50, 58, 59 Ford. And then the car does have hubcaps because at one point in time it had original wheels. We'd like to go back with those. So I want to pump these up just so we can maneuver around, do what we need to do. And then before we drive it, to be safe, we will put new tires on it.
2000, January 2000.
So that's been tucked under there since 2000.
Been there in a while.
we were able to get all 4 tires, as pretty as they are. 2-hole there. So that's a start. I think our first step on this one is to go ahead and grab the bore scope. Let's take a look at these cylinders, and then we can start kind of seeing where we're getting into. If we do have major rust, being this was a brand new motor, we're not going to try to make this one run. We are going to pull it. We will end up pulling it out and then going through it because we don't want to take the chance of tearing it up. But knowing that it did have Marvel Mystery Oil in it, let's see if we have any rust in there. If it's all leaked past over 4 years, hopefully it has. We know it had worked its way past those rings, and maybe it'll turn over. Let's find out. We're going to start here. I don't know what the... Okay, so this is cylinder 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Over there. Look at that, baby. That's brand new. Look, cross hatching. That's where we'd see rust. I don't see anything. It might have. Look at, see the little bit of surface? I'm not scared of that. See how it, just on the piston. I don't even see any on the cylinder wall. No Marvel Mystery Oil.
Hoping the piston's not rusty.
This one's right here. Perfect. Why?
Because it's aluminum.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true. Shut up. It must be just someone didn't clean them very well when they built the motor.
They were brand new.
Okay, never mind. Never mind. Oh, these are 30 over.
Yeah.
Ooh. See the 30 on top of the piston? Clean as a pin. This is good. Good, good, good. Like I said, you know, the thing was, yeah, the motor was stuck. But with that being said, your tolerances are extremely, not extremely, but fairly tight when you're brand new. And that, all it takes is just the lightest amount of surface rust. What in the world? Get in there. Get in the hole. Okay, okay. Just look at that. Right at the wall. Cross hatching, clean as a pin. You can tell this thing's never even been run. Ooh, that one's got a little Marvel in it. But it's low. See, barely, just the lightest. See that? Right at the original scuffing, where that piston went down the first couple times, you see a little bit of Marvel. We're on top of piston. That's clean as a pin on the walls. I think, which you never know, maybe the starter's stuck. I do want to spray some lube PB.
What is that? A little booger in her.
The heck is that?
Mud dog?
Like a piece of wasp nest or something. It ought to just blow that right out the exhaust, right? I mean,
oh, it'll just combust.
It looks like, look, it looks like a piece of paper towel.
Yeah,
did you leave paper towel in the intake? That's clean as a pin. Before we even try to pull the radiator, let's see if we can get a bolt on this thing. Let's put it in neutral. Let's see if it moves. This may have been in here as long as the car, but hey, I do want to make sure we have something in here. Oh, that thing is coming apart. So, bonk.
Huh?
I am going to throw this in neutral. Gross, you gonna climb under there? You want something to lay on? I don't know. Eight-legged freaks is the old one. Why is it so many cobwebs under there? Yeah. Oh yeah.
Uh-oh. We're gonna have to get a soft
one. One bird for you to envy. Oh, one bird for you to envy. That's a Sean tag.
spot, ain't it?
Yeah, to gain access, we're having to pull the fan. Either that or pull the radiator. Now, it has never had coolant in it, but the trans lines are hooked up. We don't want to make a huge mess if we don't have to. While you're doing that, I am going to pull this air cleaner. Good old Holly, you said 600?
Yeah. Probably needs more. I just stuck, that's one Sean had bought and put on his 390.
And so this is kind of cool. The intake looks like it's painted, but you can see C6. That's a factory aluminum intake for a 428 that Dad sandblasted and then clear coated. That thing's shot. You ready?
Yep. Mm-hmm. She's done.
Okay. Well, we're just gonna really quick stick a battery in here, verify it's not the starter hooked up or it's not the starter engaged and frozen. Just by putting it in here and bumping it, that'll tell us kind of where we're at there. Well, we got dash light. Oh, no, oh yeah. A little backlight there. Dash light. Are the headlights on? Oh yeah. Okay, enough of that. Let's see what this thing does. That was just... That starter was engaged. You son of a gun! It's that same dumb starter that the Galaxy has.
That's all.
Hey. Daggum straight. What a good feeling. Now the only reason we did bump it with the starter is obviously, as clean as this thing looks, there had to be something else going on there too. And that starter was stuck engaged, just like we had issues, if you remember, our 61 Galaxy with the 390. This is based off of the 352 block, just like the 390, uses that same junk starter. And it was junk, just like that one. She spins over. This thing's gonna run. Before we turn it over very much more, we know that not only is that oil close to 30 years old, excuse me, not only is that oil close to 30 years old, but it has what looks like a gallon of Marvel Mixture oil in it. So let's go ahead, let's jack this thing up, let's get underneath it, let's pull that drain plug. I did bring some fresh oil, and obviously we have to put a motor braking additive in it. We'll see, it's probably gummy. You know how that stuff gets. It's probably sloppity down in the bottom, but let's drain it out, let's get some fresh in it, let's turn it over some more. Well, it seems one thing that we forgot was an oil pan. Found this, but in this bucket of bolts, we have, it's a kitty pan for kitty litter. So I am going to transfer, this is all part of the rescuing car process. We're gonna transfer this stuff to the trash can, and then we're gonna use this as an oil pan. Yeah, brand new 30-something-year-old oil. Oh. That's good, we had oil pressure. Holy cow. Going back on with the Ford FL1A, and we are pre-lubing it. We're using that Havoline 1040. You've been seeing us using that box.
There's just rat nest back here on the back of the intake.
We're going to have to get a vacuum cleaner over and suck that up. We're going to go ahead and pull this fuel line because the fuel, as to be expected, is very bad. Oh wow, that fuel line's hard as a rock. And we don't want it pumping into the carburetor because the carburetor's probably terrible, but if it's not, we don't want it to get that way. Go ahead and spin it. Now we know with just a little bit of turning over that we've done so far, that oil filter already filled up. Our oil light turns off immediately. It seems we have great oil pressure. She's turning over and she sounds okay. Now we don't have spark plugs in it yet. And I think our next step is to go ahead and check and see if we have fire. Go ahead and pull that distributor cap off and take a look at what we got down in there. Not too shabby. Woo, them are some crusty points. The only thing we got laying around here, is some 600 grit.
That'll definitely sand it. Got a 220. Got some 240. Holy cow.
We have nothing. The key's on.
Yeah.
Alright, let me verify we have voltage really quick. Okay, we don't have any voltage here. Let me put a jumper on it really quick. It's popping. Those points aren't great. It's popping down in there. Hold on a second. Let me hook the let me hook a coil wire up to it. Oh yeah, she's firing. Well, there we go. Turning over, fresh oil, good oil pressure. Now we have spark. Like we always like to do, we leave those old condensers in as long as we can. The new stuff is just complete garbage. Those old ones seem to work forever as long as they work. Gonna go ahead and stick the brand new old spark plugs back in it. You see, they literally ran on this one time. They're perfect. They are Autolite 45s, which that would be probably what this thing had in it. So let's get them stuck in there. You can tell that accelerator pump dumped its guts out. Man. Yeah. This placement's terrible. What a monster. Sheesh, okay. Plugs in, wires on. Something kind of neat here. We do have the numbers for this side for some reason, but not that side. If you look right here on the intake, there's our firing orders. I've got our fuel line here. I'm gonna hook it to our tank. Let's get a little pressure on that carburetor. See what it's interested in doing. And we'll try to turn this thing over with fuel.
This radiator. It's water.
Hope it's taking it.
No, because it wasn't that full. Just that much water is not going to crack a block.
Whoa!
What'd it do?
It shot straight.
You don't
out the
think
back.
that foot's a little stuck, do you?
I'll fix it.
If it's only got this much water, it's got room to expand the whole cavity. Wait. Oh. That's a good one. Oh my.
You have to have something a little more violent than that. Well, we've got gas. There's not much in there. Let me, let's just bump it real quick. What do you think? So this thing's just pure goop where the accelerator pump diaphragm was leaking out. Has that stuck. I brought a couple extra of these, so let's just throw one of these in there and then we can take the needle loose here and see if we can get that needle to free up.
Some posts, they're supposed to be 205 and 215. And he said they're brand new. I said, well, I wonder what the date is. And you know how sometimes they look.
I'm pretty sure we didn't, did we? I think that's got her. Hit that accelerator and make sure she works. Oh! Okay, so the rear's...
Now the rear's good. Front's overflowing now.
Get just a little more fuel. Let's close that choke back off. I think this thing's gonna run. Well, that old Holly just ain't gonna do it. I'm gonna give it a little sniffle of carb cleaner. Make sure she pops off. And I think we're gonna have to build that carburetor. Holy cow. Yeah. You are darn straight. That one really stinks. That's a weird smell. That is the first time that 428 has fired back to life in 1998. What is that? 24 years? It smells terrible, but it's an awesome smell. It is the sweet smell of success. Obviously, the carburetor is terrible. It needs to be rebuilt. I was spritzing it with some carburetor cleaner, and it's running. We'll get it dialed in. Obviously, we have to go through, break it in a little bit, and there's so much more we have to dial in on this car. I think we're gonna be driving this one home though. With that 650 needing to be rebuilt anyways, we did put our hands on that. We found the 750. It looks like this thing came out of a chicken coop or something. It's got some, it's pretty grody, but I think it'll work. I brought our ultrasonic. You remember us using that in the Ranchero video. I'm gonna pull this thing apart. Let's get it dipped in here. Let's get it clean. I've got a rebuild kit. Let's put it together, get it on the car. Now what's cool is it is an automatic choke, which is gonna work for us. It's not an electric though, so okay. We'll figure the choke out. Not a huge deal. It's 75 degrees today, but it's a single pumper, which a double pumper would be nice, especially with the motor being built a little bit. But single's nice and simple, and being a 750 should be plenty for this thing to be a nice cruiser. And obviously, depending on what platform, whether the motor stays in here or something else, we can adjust it later. But this might just get us home. Oh, that thing's... Ooh. I just rubbed the O-ring and it disintegrated. Wow, I've never seen those gaskets shrink up that bad in these. That's weird. Wow, that's crazy how clean that is. All we got to do is soak it and regasket it. I'm going to verify all the ports are clean. Never judge a book by its cover. That's a crispy looking old carburetor, but not too shabby. Can't put the lid on there, but hey, spitter, what you doing? I've got to say, I give it to these ultrasonic cleaners. I mean, they are just awesome, and it was cheap. I think it was only $100, and I mean, how nice it makes everything. And plus, all we have in there is a degreaser, so it's not like we're digging in Kim dip or anything like we usually are. We have all those. If you want to wait, we have all those at the... We've got that fresh 750 on there. Got the new Holly on there, and we are going to go ahead and set our flow heights. Now what we do is take these little cups off of the side. And we'll want to adjust those in and out until fuel just barely dribbles. I'm sure we'll have to do some tuning and adjusting, but let's just see if this thing is going to run on its own now. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Did you hook the wire up?
Mm-hmm. It's still got some, still floating.
Yeah, it's got some gas.
All right, go ahead. Getting close. Now we don't know where our timing is or anything. We definitely need to check on that. The distributor was loose, so we know it was never set dead straight, and there's still some tuning to go on. We don't have a cooling system in this thing yet, as far as a belt and a fan on and everything. So before we run it any more than that, let's go ahead and get our accessories, our belt put back on the front of this thing. Let's get some coolant in it so we can run it a bit more and we can dial it in. Now obviously this is an AC car, but we do not have the compressor currently. We've got a belt on there. What it actually is the power steering belt that we received. That was the wrong one, but it's a little of the wrong size. It'll do. It'll spin our water pump and it'll keep our engine cool. I am putting water in this for now. It is about 65, 70 degrees today. And the reason I'm doing that is because we had some crust down in the radiator and stuff. Plus we had some junk, it sounded like, in that water pump. We want to be able to flush this cooling system before we put coolant in it, and if we need to replace that water pump, we hate to waste coolant in this. Now that we're full of water, we can go ahead and see if we can get it to fire off. We start getting it to idle, and we want to be between 6 and 10 degrees before top dead center on our timing. And it's just kind of a matter of getting it where it needs to be and keeping it running so we can get it dialed in. But let's do it. Go ahead. Have a good bit of engine heat and not much in the radiator. And what I think we got going on here is that thermostat is frozen, maybe from sitting so long, or we push some trash around into it or something. But yeah, that thermostat didn't work.
Fall apart.
It's crusty. I always find in carburetors.
Well, I just thought, you know, I had that, but I think the spread might be different.
No, that's the same. It's a new one for the 60 Bonneville, but it might be going on a Ford. Oh yeah. All right, that's going on a
You sure?
Ford.
I was thinking the spread this way.
You'll notice there's a bunch of play on both of those throttle shafts, and I think we're just pulling way too much vacuum there because I have everything else off. Everything else looks good. We just cannot get it to run right. It's so up and down and crazy. It sucks. There's a reason someone took that off of a car. It was junk at one point in time. That's why it was so clean. I think they probably couldn't get the thing running right, but it was worth a shot. It could be a decent carburetor if gone through and taken to like a shop and machined out and everything, but we got to safely get home. So we're going to try this Carter 750 that has been on the shelf for 30 something years, but it might work. Sounds so much better. that was really exciting to be able to get this thing to run. It was a little bit of a process, especially trying to make do with what we had here and what we had brought with us, where we've been able to get it dialed in. It sounds pretty good. There's obviously a lot more to go. We have already started on the brakes. We've got the wheels on and a few other odds and ends that you're going to see in the next episode. Because of the length of this, I am going to split it up. We're going to dial everything in here before the end of the day. We're hopefully going to be able to drive this thing home, but this was really fun. I really hope you all enjoyed. Be sure to subscribe button, notification bell, so you can see the rest of this and you can see our other rescues. And if you have been following along, we really do appreciate all the love and support. It's what gives us the ability to be able to rescue cars like this. But I really hope you all enjoyed and you dig this old Thunderbird, because it is a cool old car. But that'll wrap it up. Peace out and catch you all on the flip side.